It's a hard thing to give up and watch leave. It's been a
right?
couple decades of my life to just walk out the doors. It's pretty painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'm doing okay with it. Like I'm definitely better than I was a couple months ago. Like I feel like I'll be even better once it's said and done. Kind of hard to have closure when she's still in the house.
Right.
But
Yeah, I call that the emotional hangover. And it's very, very common that, if she's the one that doesn't want the relationship and you do want the relationship, pretty much every time you see her or have a, interaction, it resets this clock of this emotional hangover. And it usually
yeah,
takes, yeah, 3 days to a week to kind of flush that out of your system again. I have found. Is that you relate to that?
yeah, I don't know that I've had 3 days to a week without her.
Really? Not at all?
No, like I mean, there's been a couple times where I go out of town for a couple days, or she does a couple times, but no, it's kind of a weird situation right now. Like we're still in the same house, we still have family dinner together every night. There's no fighting. It's the only
Uh,
thing different is she sleeps in a different bedroom and she's checked out and getting ready to leave. So it's very weird. Like there's no anger, there's no fighting, there's no rants or flying around. And I think part of that is both of us just trying to be adults and not screw up the kids any more than we have to. Like trying to do right by
right.
them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here. I mean, if you and I had more time to talk, one thing I would ask is what are you doing to grieve the version 1.0 of the marriage, to grieve the marriage? Right. Something that I don't know if you've thought about or you're doing work on, but right.
I'm
How are you
trying
building
to.
yourself in high value? Yeah. What we're talking about today. But then also, how are you grieving the sadness of the loss of that story?
Yeah, I don't know that I've thought about that one at all, honestly. That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, imagine it was, do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I got two brothers.
Let's say you have a third brother or a sister that you don't have. I don't have a brother. I have one sister. Two sisters is actually a half sister. So sometimes I tell a story like, well, if this happened to my brother, who's fictitious because I don't have a brother. So what if you had a sister and you embodied that your marriage was this sister of yours and she just is like, this is deep, but what I'm about to say is deep, but she's like dying a slow death of something horrible. That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah, that's pretty spot on.
And so what would you do? You'd be there for her as best you can. You'd know that there wasn't anything that you could do, right? Maybe it's like cancer or something. There's like gone to the doctors and done everything you can thus far. And all you can do is kind of be there and know. And it's like, maybe she's unconscious at this point, let's say, right? This is terrible shit, but this is what we go through, guys. Right. I've done meditations on this around my son or around, I mean, my father just passed away a few months ago. Like we all have this kind of stuff happen in our life, right? And so, yeah, we have this vision of this high value man, the success we want to be. And we also need to integrate. We need to integrate the fact that we will have pain in our life, right? Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And so how do we move through suffering? How do you move through hell is to grieve, the loss. And so, John, if you were to potentially, right, journal, think about this. What if the marriage was your sister and she's, on the last days? And what would you do to grieve her? How would you honor her? What would you do to move on in a healthy way? That's what I would have you take away, from right what I just said, and work on that yourself. Think about that. Post about it in the forum too. Ask us questions.
That's awesome. Thank you.